This is VOCM Open Line. Call 709-273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626. The views and opinions of this program are not necessarily those of this station. The biggest conversation in Newfoundland and Labrador starts now.
Well, good Wednesday morning, everyone, and welcome to Open Line on what many affectionately refer to as Hump Day. Of course, that could have easily applied to Monday this week or even yesterday, or even Monday, it seems, for the past month or so, any Monday for the past month or so. Interim host, we're going to call me, Brian Callahan with you this week, and David Williams, the steady hand producing the show. Numbers to call, of course, 709-273-5211 in the St. John's metro area. Elsewhere, 1-888-590-VOCM. That's 8626. So, yeah, still pretty tight quarters with the potential for some tense moments on the streets around Metro. And I know elsewhere, of course. And I heard your VOCM Mornings co-host, Russell Bowers, this morning mentioning the wonderland all this snow is for a lot of kids, for the kid in us, whether it's, the sliding or snow forts and all the stuff we did as kids, anything to get him off the screens these days, to say the truth. But, of course, with those mounds of snow, or should I say small mountains in some areas, you want to make sure you keep safety top of mind. In other words, try to keep or confine the fun to safer areas, i.e. not necessarily the snowbanks in front of your house or along the streets, because there's just too much potential for an accident or, God forbid, a tragedy, because all of that snow has got to be plowed or moved, and you never know when it will be, whether it's privately or by the city or the province, and let's hope sooner rather than later, because some intersections right now are just real accidents waiting to happen, including for drivers. There are some spots, you really have to inch your way out. Just your nose out just to see around the corner and whether or not it's safe to go, and then you could be clipped, of course, and lose the whole front end. But just take your time, people. There's still people just flying down these cow paths downtown. A few shortcuts, to get here and there, but there's absolutely zero traction on some of those streets. And it's, I don't know, it's just accidents all over the place waiting to happen. So just a reminder, word of caution there. The roads are in pretty good shape, but still, those patches of ice, glued to the pavement, that some of the Councillor Tom Davis referred to yesterday. And if you hit one of those as you're coming to a stop or a red light, it can slide you right into the middle of said intersection. So just something to keep in mind, back of your mind, as you're moving around today, with some visibility for a change, which we haven't really been treated to in the last couple of days. Bit of sports before we get into the morning. Let's see. Don't look now. For all my Leafs fans out there, appear to have some life, even if just a few blips on the monitor after a brutal six-game losing streak. They rattle off 3 in a row, of course. Mind you, lowly Vancouver on the weekend, but back-to-back wins, Flames, and last night the Oilers, 5-2. And now Leafs Nation is back parade planning. So we'll see how long they can keep that up and whether or not they still have life and whether or not they're sellers or traders at the deadline. And so competition begins today in Milano Cortina, Italy at the Olympics, the 25th Winter Olympiad. It's actually the third Winter Games hosted by Italy and the first to be officially co-hosted by two cities. And, of course, the highlight for many Canadians will be the men's and women's hockey, curling, of course, and all the usual Canadian winter sports. But there's one race that could end up, being the story of these games. Let's hope it's not that other kind of ice that's coming from the U.S., and we can get into that if you want to. But that's what I'm talking about is Lindsey Vonn. And this is the American downhill ski legend who came out of retirement at the age of, get this, 41 years old. Not for a breakdancing competition or anything, but to race in, arguably, maybe not even arguably, the most death-defying and challenging race sport of it all. Make no mistake, the downhill. Over 100 kilometers an hour, flying down the hill, making those turns. That in and of itself was already an amazing story, the fact that she's coming out to race again. But then last week, during a warm-up race, she fell and completely, quote-unquote, completely ruptured her ACL, or the anterior cruciate ligament. And now, if you've ever done that yourself, and mind you, I have, I ruptured mine on Marble Mountain about 20 years ago. Last run of the season, actually, at the time. It was the very last run of the afternoon and for the season, and it was April, so it was a little bit of rain, a little bit of freeze and drizzle, and I caught an edge and snap. and I had to be taken down the hill in one of those baskets and off to Western Memorial, where they took care of me really well, stabilized it and everything. And funny thing, I could still drive the standard vehicle at the time that I was driving back to St. John's, because it didn't require any lateral movement. It just required back and forth, so I managed to drive home. But I couldn't walk. Just the slightest little tweak, one way or the other would just be so excruciating, painful, and debilitating to say the least. But she says she's still going to race. Incredible. If she just tries, let alone finish the course, God forbid she gets a medal. And get this, her race is scheduled for Super Bowl Sunday. And with the 4.5-hour time difference, it'll be some kind of must-see TV on Sunday. That's going to be something else. And speaking of the NFL, just quickly, the New England Patriots, if you've been following this, one of the greatest dynasties in the history of the league, arguably for some the greatest dynasty, 6 Super Bowl titles, ties them with the Steelers for the most ever. And this week, in voting for the Hall of Fame, both the coach of those wins, Bill Belichick, and the owner, Robert Kraft, both left, I guess, on the outside looking in with their first time on the ballot. It makes one wonder, could it even happen to the Golden Boy, their quarterback through all that, Tom Brady, who arguably is the greatest of all time as well? Whether or not he might suffer the same fate. Wouldn't that be something on his first crack? I mean, if these guys aren't getting into the Hall of Fame, there's no one. And it's causing quite a stir, of course, to the sports world, and particularly south of the border, with the immortality that comes with the Hall of Fame. People will point to Spygate. Years ago, I think it was 2006 maybe, or thereabouts. They were found under Coach Belichick to be videotaping opposing coaches' signals during the games. Now, that in and of itself isn't necessarily illegal, but they were doing it from their sideline, from the opposing team's sideline. So, and they were fine. There was no dispute. It happened. It wasn't wishy-washy like the Houston Astros, although that wasn't much wishy-washy. We know what happened there as well. But people will point to that, the Spygate, as being the reason they were left off the ballot. Others say it's just the way the voting goes. People will vote for someone who might be about to fall off the ballot because they only have so many votes, as opposed to someone who they know is going to be voted in sooner or later. Anyway, I just had to throw that one out there because that's an eyebrow raiser for anyone with a sports knock in their head. So, okay, some rapid-fire topics for you, just to get into it, if you are so inclined. So it just seems, that the new provincial government's certainly putting their mark, their stamp on this new administration. There's no question about that, whether it's closing, we hear in the news today, closing the Boston Trade Office, pulling its support for the marine protected area on the south coast near Burgeo, the cancelled infrastructure projects, of course, the MOU. We can get into any and all of that if you so choose, and the mark that the new provincial government, it's kind of I always harken back to Sam the Record Man. They said it, and now they're doing it. It was going to be a bloodletting of sorts to relook at the books and just put their own progressive conservative stamp on this government, and they're at it, and all toward a budget that they say will keep the 3 pillars in mind. Of healthcare and safer communities and lower taxes for everybody. So, whether it's to cancel the hospital out on Kenmount Crossing or anything like that, you could all over it if you'd like to talk about that. There's just so many issues. I'm not going to belabor anyone in particular this morning because there's so much on the go, and I got a few calls that we want to get to, a couple waiting already. Not going to spend much time, but I do want to mention yesterday's scene on Parliament Hill with former PM Stephen Harper being honored, his portrait unveiling on Parliament Hill. And, it was quite beloved, really, across party lines. And probably not coincidental, given everything that's going on south of the border and with all the separatist talk in Alberta. This was very much a show of, Unity, which I think we all needed right now. And so, standing ovations from both sides of in the House of Commons, whether it was Prime Minister and the nice words that he had. I mean, it was all just very warm and cozy. And a fine tribute, Harper, Prime Minister for 9 years. Say what you want. He was more of a quiet, not so much outgoing PM. But, we have our own issues here in Newfoundland with that if you wanted to get into any of that. But it's just a fire hose of news, as I mentioned. And, of course, I want to, there's enough bad news or sad news out there that we don't necessarily need thrown in our back and forth at us all the time. But I wanted to mention, I heard Steve Callahan, no relation, by the way, on with Tim Powers yesterday on Tim Powers Show. And we had the interview again on this morning because it's just so significant and important, talking about another tragedy involving the 3 junior hockey players killed in that crash in southern Alberta. 2 kids from BC, one from the U.S., from Birmingham, Alabama, actually, Caden Fine. We still don't know exactly what happened, other than they were in a car that was struck by a semi and that was carrying a load of gravel. And so, we'll wait before passing judgment there. But you can the loss is just unimaginable and just brings you right back to Humboldt, the crash. 15 were killed and a junior team bus was hit by a big rig as well. And we know that was, over time, the cause and the penalties were borne out against the driver of that rig, but we don't know what happened here. Again, we caution everyone, not there, don't know, waiting for the investigation. And speaking of investigations, and on another very sad note, the scene at CFB Trenton yesterday on the tarmac was just nothing short of heartbreaking, absolutely. We saw that the body of gunner Sebastian Halmagain arrived at CFB Trenton yesterday afternoon. It was in the Halmagain, by the way, if I didn't pronounce that right. I think I tripped over it. Sebastian Halmagain. He was killed in Latvia. We still, again, I repeat, don't know all the circumstances. A full investigation is on the way, but full honors yesterday as he was flown back to back to Trenton. And the sideways snow and all the honors on the tarmac there, and just such a sad and tragic circumstance. And this young man, of course, we know was here fighting the wildfires last summer, and made connections with all the people out in Conception Bay North and the provincial government, and saw a note from former Premier and the current Liberal leader, opposition leader John Hogan, on the same thing, remarking, again, we still don't know what happened, so we'll have to wait for the investigation. But to see the family taking time, just clearly distraught, unable, one young lady just couldn't let go of the casket as it sat in the back of the hearse there, as the family was paying their tributes to the young man who was flown back yesterday. And then, of course, they did the Highway of Heroes. He even, this young man even had some videos posted to Facebook, about his time here fighting the wildfires. Again, and we don't know what happened, but the tragedy is unmistakable. All right, Dave, there's so much else to talk about. We can get into this morning. Any of those topics, all of them are up for debate and discussion here on Open Line. You know the drill. 1-709-273-5211, 1-888-590-VOCM, 8626. Dave Williams waiting to take your call. Let's take our first break of the morning and get right back with the callers are already lined up, and that is our first priority. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the program. The Hump Day, dealing with a couple of tech issues on my end, but we'll keep her going. Let's go right to line number 2. And Bill, you're on the air.
Brian, right?
Yes, hi, Bill. How are you?
Not bad. Brian, you've been a reporter for a number of years, and you've heard of the Lemire inquiry, haven't you?
I covered it.
Okay, so what the result was is that they found that the police, the RNC, messed up. I guess is the summation of it, is that they made mistakes.
Yeah, the theme was the tunnel vision, really, that came out of that. Focusing really on one particular suspect without really doing a comprehensive investigation or probe into other potential suspects. That was the main theme. It went back to the Randy Druken murder case, where he was acquitted. His brother was actually found to be responsible for the murder after. Greg Parsons, of course, that was the second one, and Ronald Dalton out in Central. And that's just off the top of my head. I can't believe I remembered all that.
So the thing about it was what came out about all that is that they're not infallible, is they're not incapable of making mistakes.
Absolutely.
And I'm saying that on the management of traffic on the Outer Ring Road, I think they're making a mistake. I think they're applying the rules incorrectly. Mm-hmm. And that's detrimental to anybody that uses that road. I was calling about this issue in December, and I had a number of calls about it. And the last call I made on this issue was December 18th, and the RNC statement that was read out by Paddy Daly at that time. It says it said that the left lane is those who are not passing in the left lane are not using the lane for its intended purpose. So they believe that left lane on the Outer Ring Road, its only purpose is for passing.
I'm listening.
Okay, I'm telling you that's not true. That's incorrect. According to the signage on the highway, that lane is a through lane, and is just another traffic lane. And both lanes are meant for passing. There's no one lane that's meant for passing. And by promoting that idea that the left lane is for passing, what it has done is has created a fast lane. And the fast lane,
okay.
The fast lane drives up the average speed of that highway.
Sure, no argument.
Okay, so I'm saying they're making a big mistake, and it's impacting everybody that uses that road.
And what's the mistake again, Bill? Just spell it out, because look, as you just pointed out, I'm a journalist first. I'm usually in court. I'm usually covering things. I'm not listening to Open Line all the time. I heard some of this discussion, but feel free to just give me your Cole's notes of your opinion on it.
Okay, well, I'm a civil engineering technician.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, just a little bit. So I know a little bit about highway design, traffic management, and those kind of things. And what they're applying, the rule and the dynamic that they're applying to the Outer Ring Road is a keep right except to pass dynamic. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now that doesn't apply. Okay, they're doing it mistakenly because they don't understand.
But what's the point, though? Is it that you just want to be able to drive in that outer lane at your own speed, whether it's the minimum, the maximum? You just want to be able to take that lane whenever you want, right?
I'm saying that is not what I want, right?
Well, it sounds a lot like that, Bill, if you don't mind me saying.
It's not what I want to follow the rules of the road.
Sure.
And the rules of the road are imparted by the signage on that road. And when the Outer Ring Road was built, it was built with signage, overhead signage, instructing people to use both lanes as driving lanes. And for some reason, that message never got imparted to the public ever since that road has been opened. There's so much volume of traffic on that road that you need both lanes to be used for the traffic. You can't say that the left lane is only for passing because it's meant to be a through lane. They call them express lanes up in Ontario, but it's a through lane.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah.
I have a paper. I got a 30-page document on this thing. Okay. And CBC won't touch it, and I don't know. It's because I have to call it out as I see it. It's a mistake that the RNC are making, and they continue to make, and nobody wants to touch it because I'm criticizing the police. I mean, they got a thin skin, I guess. I don't know, right?
Okay.
This is about traffic management. That thing has 40,000 vehicles a day. You can't apply a keep right except to pass dynamic on that road. You can on a rural freeway, and that's between Paddy's Pond and Whitburn. That's a rural freeway. It's about 90 kilometers long, and it's got probably 50 intersections, merged and diverged lanes. But the Outer Ring Road is 20 kilometers long, and it's got the same number. You can't block the right lane. People need that lane so they can safely merge into traffic.
That's
okay?
true.
There's other things, too, that's going on up there. That, the speed limit needs to be strictly enforced at 100 to allow for proper merging. The merge lanes are designed for 100 kilometers an hour. You can't have an average speed of 105 or 110 or 120 because it simply does not work. And our traffic statistics, our safety statistics, based on the latest published by Transport Canada, are the second highest in Canada for fatalities per billion kilometer miles driven. We have twice the number of fatalities per billion miles travel than Ontario. You know, I mean, the statistics speak for what's you know, they represent the mistakes that we're making.
Yeah, the causes of accidents and tragedies on the highways, especially the Outer Ring Road, which I affectionately call the Outerbahn, are varied and many. I guess I will say this, Bill, I've listened to some of it. You know, there is a broken line there, which gives you the right to be able to go back and forth in different lanes. By nature, we know that faster traffic moves, and just let me finish, moves in the left-hand lane, whether it's right, whether it's wrong. Enforcing is one thing. My question is, what happened to courtesy? You can say that the sign says I can do this. You can say that the law says I can do this. But what about common courtesy? What about, you know, maybe you don't want to drive the speed limit and you want to stay to the right. Maybe you want to drive faster and you get to the left. If you get nailed, you get nailed. The people who are going 30 and 40, that's just ridiculous. But people go a couple of miles per hour over, a couple of kilometers per hour under. You know, you cannot, unfortunately, enforce politeness. And there's a courtesy aspect. I just wanted to finish what I was going to say there.
No, but you're bringing in a lot of stuff.
I just wanted to finish what I was going to say, Bill. You can't enforce politeness or courtesy or people giving a crap about the driver next to them. So that's one part that I think, if we had more consideration for the other drivers around us, whether or not you think they're doing the right thing, you know.
Oh, yeah, no, I know they're doing the wrong thing. Because
well,
the law says it.
You know.
I know
that's
it.
Fine. You're allowed to know that. That's your own personal opinion.
No, yeah, I know it, and it's being covered up.
Oh, okay. It's a cover-up.
It is.
Okay.
I mean, no one will. No. Okay. Number one, you said like if it's all about courtesy and politeness. Those signs on overhead signs, there's nothing about courtesy or politeness.
Exactly.
Something. And the whole idea that there's a designed fast lane and a designed slow lane. That's not true.
I didn't say it was designed.
Not true.
I said it commonly happens that people drive and the law enforcement knows it, and you can have all the laws on the books and all the act on the book that you want. You know, police, we all acknowledge that rules are made to be broken, and unfortunately they are, and hopefully we can get the people who break them.
No. Hopefully not. No, look, the laws are there,
right.
Okay? The traffic management plan is laid out by those signs and is not being adhered to. You said that what happens is the left lane is usually a little bit faster than the right lane. That's because people are merging and diverging, and they use the right lane. So that lane is that's a transition lane. So the left lane is supposed to be a through lane. It's not supposed to be a fast lane where you can go out there and travel 100. Yeah. When they say that it's meant for passing, then what they're implying is that if you want to get in that left lane, then you have to be passing somebody. And if someone is in the right lane doing 100 kilometers an hour, the speed limits, then that doesn't give you the right to get out in that left lane, and just because you want to do 110. But that's what happens. And everyone that gets in that left lane, if you're not speeding, if you're not going above the speeding, then you get tailgated in that left lane. And that's not how that's supposed to operate. That's not how it's supposed to work. And for the police to say that the left lane is intended for passing is a half-truth, because both lanes are intended for passing. And that's in the Highway Traffic Act too. They're doing it wrong. They're administering it wrong. They don't understand how that's supposed to be done up there, and they haven't understood since the thing has been opened. And we continue to have rollovers, and we continue to have people getting paralyzed up there, and people are afraid to use the thing because they're terrorized when they get up there, and they get tailgated because the mindset out there is that it's a keep right except the pass. That doesn't apply to that urban freeway. It's an urban freeway. It's not a rural freeway. It's got a lot of cars on it, and both lanes are meant to be used. And they got it wrong, and the RNC got it wrong, and I'm going to say it. And I just said it.
Yeah, you said it, and you've said it over and over and over, and I've heard you.
Yeah, and until someone,
and the listening audience has heard you, but you're going to keep talking, aren't you? Like, holy moly, Bill.
I'll keep saying it until the changes are made.
You take your pauses,
there's unnecessary
and you ask me if I'm listening,
up there.
and then you talk over me. So I don't know what else to do.
What do you got to say?
Well, you stopped a couple of times, paused, hello, and I started to talk, and you talk again. I mean, you got to be able to, listen, courtesy on this show and up on the Outer Ring are must much left to be desired. But Bill, look, I'm right on the break. I'll take your call anytime. I'm over time.
Yeah, but no, don't put this about me being courteous, because you guys wouldn't let me talk about this for a full month. Now,
how much time have you talked about it since a full month?
Yeah, well,
how many minutes have you been on Open Line, Bill?
I wanted to get on and say that the RNC
and you're on. Not only that,
Bill,
you're the first caller today. So what do you got to say about that?
I say great. I was on the line waiting to get on yesterday.
Wait. Did you just say great?
Yeah, well, whatever.
Okay, good. Let's leave it there. That's a good positive note. I got to go. I'm on the break.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We'll talk to you next time.
On the positive note, I'd like to end on a positive note.
Are you? Okay, go.
Yeah, okay, I want to say that I think that Danny Breen, since he took over as mayor of the city, the sidewalks, they're not perfect, but it's a damn sight better than it was before he came in. So I give kudos to Danny Breen for bringing in sidewalks, snow clearing, and I think he's going in the right direction on that, and he's done a good job.
Deadly. There's a lot of hands in that fire, like taking care of those sidewalks, but yeah, Danny's the mayor. Bill, thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Okay, bye.
Take care. All right, Bill. Dave, take that break. Thanks. Welcome back to the show on this Wednesday morning. Let's go right to line number 3 and retired former Crown attorney Mike Murray, you're on the air.
Yeah, good morning. How are you, Brian?
I'm good, Mike. How does that? I know we don't get to see each other that often. How does the title retired strike you, hit you?
Loving it.
Sounds like it. What's on the mind?
Oh, not much. A couple of ladies called in yesterday about parking tickets.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to sort of, I guess, outline some of the procedures in a way that might be helpful for people in a similar situation.
Absolutely.
Remember, one lady, I believe she didn't see a sign. The other lady had problems, wasn't able to use that pay-by-phone new meter, if I remember their issues correctly. So we start from the beginning. You get your ticket. I mean, obviously, your first point of contact is with the person who issued the ticket. 9 chances out of 10, unless you just come out the tickets on the car. I mean, if you're dealing with those people, you got to be nice to them. It's no good yelling at them. You're not going to get anywhere that way. And they may be able to do something for you. But assuming they don't, and you come out and the ticket's already there. I mean, you're looking at your ticket. If you contact the court, all the court can do is, if you want to plead not guilty, set it down for trial. Right? The court can't drop anybody's ticket. They don't have the authority to do it. They don't have the discretion to do it. All they can do is hold trials, and at the end of the trial, the judge can say guilty or not guilty. So if you have a story like that, if you've got sort of a hard luck story that you didn't know how to work the meters and you ran in for 5 minutes to fill a prescription, would someone give you a break? It's no point contacting the court. The court is for people who want to contest tickets, who say they're in the right and the city's in the wrong. I mean, if you want somebody to, I guess, exercise some of your discretion on your behalf, then who you really need to talk to is the people in traffic services, or maybe the city solicitor's office, who actually go to court and deal with the tickets. They've got the discretion to withdraw a ticket. And how you get a hold of them is I'm not sure what the answer to that is. I looked up Contact Us on the city website yesterday, and I got to say, the city website really needs a reboot. It is the most user-unfriendly thing I've ever seen. But there's no directory of people you can call on the city on the Contact Us page. It's only the 311 number. It doesn't even have the councillors' emails. I mean, it doesn't have any information on Contact Us. The city website is just terrible. But if you call 311, I mean, to me, 311 seems like a bit of a, the way it's set up is that 311 is to prevent you from calling anybody or any department directly. When you call them, their job is to put you off. I mean, it's not a very user-friendly thing anyway. But if you can't find a number for traffic services or the city solicitor, you're going to have to call 311 and get some contact information, if they'll give it to you. But I mean, that's how the tickets work. And there's very little, any ticket that is not contested goes through automatically as a conviction and goes on your account. I mean, what a lot of people do is it comes up and they got to be paid before you renew your license or renew your registration. A lot of people just leave it and pay off, all their tickets at the end of the year with, of course, a late fee. And if you miss the date on the back of your ticket, you've got to go to the Supreme Court and make an application to reopen it. You've got to show them you've got a valid defense and a good excuse for missing the date. So, I mean, the first thing to do on any ticket is look for the default conviction date. And anything you're going to do has to be done before then.
Yeah, I know you're not down in the trenches anymore since last year, but do you have any idea how the current upset at courts involving traffic court and civil cases and that sort of thing can throw a wrench into all of that?
Well, I assume that it's possible that some traffic tickets so the police give out moving violations, speeding and stop signs, and the city gives out parking tickets. That's the basic division of labor. I assume at some point some tickets that get too old may be thrown out. But if you don't put in to contest your ticket, if you don't take any action on it, it's going to go through automatically. If you want anything to happen with your ticket other than paying the fine, then you got to notify the court that you want to contest the ticket. You got to contact the city or the police, because it's like they used to say about the lottery: you can't win if you don't play. And if you don't take any action on your ticket, you're not playing.
Yeah, and then people will point to the people who have the scofflaws, who have thousands and thousands on there, and just completely ignore all of this and just keep driving.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got to
They don't renew the registration and insurance, right? So
no, in traffic court, they refer to those people, those tickets, as the big three: no license, no registration, no insurance. And there's a very good chance when you pull over somebody for one of them, they're guilty of the other two as well. And there are a lot of people out there who buy old beaters. They don't even transfer them into their name. Some old lady who lives somewhere gets the police showing up at her door saying your car was involved in a chase yesterday, and she says, well, I sold it 3 months ago. I mean, a lot of people buy old beaters, they drive them till the police take them, and then they go buy another one. And there doesn't seem to be any real mechanism in the traffic law to do anything about the real scofflaws, who are the big problem.
Yeah, and I'm wondering how you and the Crown and Defence would deal with some of these things that come, like the frustration that there must be that these people are able to keep. The plan to recoup all the fines has been a great thing, but how do you get them, and how many of those actually end up in court and are forced? Their hands are forced. I mean, if they just keep going until. Is there any way to track them down?
Well, I mean, sooner or later they get caught, and sooner or later the tickets usually get directed to the right person. But, I mean, someone who's got $30,000 in outstanding fines doesn't care. And they've got no intention of ever paying any of them. I mean, motor registration has a fine payment program where you can get your license back if you start making payments on your balance. And some people take advantage of that, but a lot of people just don't care. Under the Highway Traffic Act, it's possible to go to jail for 30 or 90 days for no license or no insurance. But the legislation is so convoluted, and the points drop off after a couple of years. It's got to be a conviction within the last 3 years. And some sections say if you, maybe no license. It's a long time since I've been in traffic court, but maybe no license. It says if you got 3 priors in the last 5 years, you can go to jail for up to 30 days. And no insurance says if you've got no insurance and 3 priors in the last 5 years, and you can go to jail for a minimum of 30 days. Like, the legislation is just so convoluted.
But Mike,
and even, it's just difficult to use.
These days especially, what are the chances that any of those people are going to jail? Because you know as well as I do, there is no room at the inn. And whether it's here, Clarenville, West Coast Center, Correctional Center, it doesn't matter. So, you know as well as I do, and I'm sure I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but, we know only the worst of the worst are not getting releases these days, no matter what it is that you're in for. But, the bar for me has lowered somewhat only because there's just no room inside anymore. And, ticket offenses, traffic offenses, are they really,
They're pretty low on the totem pole, although, in terms of seriousness, they're not criminal code offenses. But at the same time...
But it's serious stuff, yeah.
At the same time, they're the ones that probably... There are some of the things that impact public safety the most. If you've got someone driving an old beater where the brakes are gone, the tires are bald, he's probably more of a risk to the public than a lot of people committing criminal code offenses.
Yep. And the potential just, not even proactively but reactively with some of these crimes. The crimes are committed, but as you said, the potential is there. But if it hasn't already happened, it's unfortunately like anything. There's an allegation, there's a risk, there's a chance. But if the serious crime hasn't been committed, if they haven't committed one of those, caused a serious accident, caused serious injury, as you said, it's probably just a matter of time because they don't care.
Yeah, and I don't know what the current status is with the RNC now, whether they still have a full-time traffic unit or not. That seems to come and go depending on the budget and what else is going on. And so I'm not sure what the status of that is right now.
Yeah, and we know there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, there is indeed. I just want to say one thing now before, because I don't want to monopolize your time too much, but I wanted to say something about sidewalk snow clearing.
Sure.
And, there's the city gets numerous complaints about sidewalk snow clearing, and I think it was Greg Noseworthy was on yesterday saying the city clears 193 kilometers of sidewalks a year or something like that. To me, I understand that, and they have a criteria that they use to pick what sidewalks they're going to clear. But one of the criteria does not seem to be whether pedestrians actually use it. You see some of the big roads with miles of sidewalks cleared that you never see a pedestrian on. But if you go downtown, I guess Gower Street is the main thoroughfare in the residential part of downtown. It goes from one end to the other. And hundreds of people use that every day, and it's less than a kilometer long. And I'm sure there's 3 or 4 other streets just like it in the city that people actually use when they're walking to school and walking to work. And if the city was to pay attention to what streets people are actually are actually used the most by pedestrians and put that into their little calculation. I'd say a good chunk of the complaints about sidewalk snow clearing are really complaints about Gower Street in the downtown and a couple of streets like it where, they're, like you go out there at 8 o'clock in the morning, there's 100 or people going back and forth and walking in the road and kids on the way to school and people on the way to work. And it's only 1 kilometer long. You could take a couple of those heavy pedestrian streets and clear them and probably get rid of 70 or 80% of the complaints about sidewalk snow clearing.
I'm with you on that. I walk, as you know, back and forth to court all the time when I'm down there. And not only that, Bishop Field School is right there. Of course, you're going to hear from the parents and the kids. It's very much cow paths there now. The city will be the first to tell you, of course, that just trying to get down those sidewalks on Gower with the mounds of snow that are there now and the parking issues, it's almost like it's got to be a perfect symphony coordination with the residents. But I think they would take it to get those sidewalks cleared.
For sure. I think the city really needs to be more proactive on that. You got little kids walking down the middle of the streets and cars swerving around them. It's...
and you get people walking with their back to traffic, too, and you can't teach that. If you can face it and then duck in and duck out, but... people.
But sure, how can people got to walk with their back to traffic? There's only room. There's only one lane there. Cars are driving down down the middle.
Yeah, no,
people are pulling to the side,
Totally agree. If you can face the traffic, of course, but
absolutely.
That's always the best way. I want to see what's coming at me rather than get hit blindsided. Mike Murray, appreciate the call. Way over to break. Anytime, man. Thanks again.
All righty, bye.
Thanks for the call. All right, Dave, let's take a break. Right back after break. And welcome back. Let's go right to line number 1. And Daryl, you're on the air.
Oh, hi, Brian. How are you today?
I'm getting along. That's about a few tech issues this morning, and boy, oh boy, this is be careful what you wish for, or so you want to be the host of Open Line. It's quite the experience. I'll say that much.
Oh yes, no. Well, it's better you're getting along versus not getting along.
well said, Daryl. What's on your mind?
Well, I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to share this website with you. It's called healthcareinfusion.org. And this was started by a couple out in Nanaimo, BC, or Vancouver Island, Todd and Jocelyn Mafflin. Mm-hmm. And this is all volunteer, and they got about 20 chapters across Canada now. I think there might be one here in Newfoundland, Labrador, out on Avalon somewhere. It's going to be corrected. And so the reason why they established this is to attract healthcare workers like doctors, nurses, or anyone in the healthcare profession. And what they discovered when they formed this, and it's all volunteer, is that they're getting a lot of U.S. Healthcare workers, doctors, nurses, and so forth. And as a great time now, considering the climate down in the U.S., is a good time to get these people, because a lot of them are looking to get out of the U.S. and come to Canada, and they get a good success rate now in BC. I'm not sure if they're in every province in Canada, but like I said, it's all volunteer, and if anyone wants to start up a chapter in their community, anyone could do it. And what it does, it showcases your community, what you got to offer, or the province. And it don't matter who starts up. Could be anybody can start up a chapter, like could be CBS, Gander, Corner Brook, or wherever the case may be. And I found it very, very intriguing as a good incentive way. Try to bring in healthcare workers versus always relying on the government to do it, whatever. And like I said, it's all volunteers, no cost, and you just go on that website. If anyone wants to sign up to start a chapter in their local area or whatever, I seen it there. I thought it was a great idea. And like it says, as healthcareinfusion.org, and I think it'd be a good idea to post it on VOCM website for people to see.
I think, I know there is contact for a local chapter. First of all, anything that can assist with recruitment and retention, or recruitment, okay, I guess mostly in this case, of healthcare workers. I mean, we know. I mean, we're starving. But there is a local chapter, and there is an email for it too. It's nlhealthcareinfusion@gmail.com. So that's, I guess, the main intake for any inquiries and that sort of thing. And if you go to that site, as you said, Infusion, and it talks about the benefits. It says talks about how, and again, it has no government involvement, of course, but it also talks about the incentives that are offered by the provincial government here, and it's a full-on resource for anybody who's thinking about, as you said, hightailing it from the south or from anywhere else. And as I said, recruitment, no one's going to turn that down. An opportunity to find another avenue by which we can bring in more healthcare workers, and not necessarily travel nurses. Hey.
No, exactly right, and so I thought it was a good idea when they started that, and they're getting a lot of American healthcare workers coming their way there in Vancouver Island when they started this, because people are looking at, wow. So I think it's a good opportunity now, considering the climate down in the U.S. now. I think it's a great opportunity to jump on getting healthcare workers from the U.S., because a lot of them are wanting to leave and go wherever as best suits them. And what other place in Newfoundland, Labrador, and we got to come from away. That's a good example there. Promote all that, like how showcase the people of Newfoundland, Labrador, what they've done. And I think that one chapter's already started. I think they got a video on Newfoundland, Labrador, if I'm not mistaken, on YouTube. And it's very smart thinking. And now I knew about this there a while back. I've seen it, and then I heard a lady came on now. She started the chapter somewhere on Avalon, if I'm not mistaken, St. John's, Mount Pearl, somewhere around that area.
Yep.
I think. I'm not totally sure. But I think it's a good idea. So if anyone's listening, don't matter what town they're from or whatever, you can start this chapter up. Even if you want that main website I just stated, that'll still link you to the local chapter here if you want to sign up that way and go the route. So I think this is what we got to start doing rather than rely on government to do what they're supposed to be doing. It's time for people and the municipalities take action. And like I said, I think it's a good idea to post that website on VOCM, because VOCM is looked at quite often, and it's a good link as far as I'm concerned.
Look, it's a great idea. We need every bit of help we can get. And I didn't mean to take a swipe at the travel nurses themselves. Just the exorbitant cost that we know that it's costing us to go out and get these private nurses, and then the issues that it's causing when they're working side by side with the public. Nurses in the public system, and those issues that have been caused there. So, and look, as I said, however they can get them, however we can get them, I know the provincial government's aware of this, and I think we may have even had a chat about this before, Darryl. If it wasn't you, it was somebody else when I was filling in for Patty once before. It rings a bell, but there's so much news flying through my brain these days, and so many topics that it's hard to keep track.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. No, we did talk there a while back. There, I was talking about the men's health at that time for the prostate health should be mandatory, like breast cancer. That's what that was that time, right?
You're right. Yes,
we had a discussion on that issue there. So, Brian, I'll just give out that website again, healthcareinfusion.org, and that still can link you to the Newfoundland Labrador chapter, or if not, if you get hold of these people, Todd and Jocelyn, they will redirect you. I was reading all that stuff, so if you guys put that on your website, that's a fantastic link. A lot of people do read your VOCM.
Absolutely, we've got great reach, and if you just go to that site, you scroll down, and there are a whole list of communities and provinces across the country. You can click on Newfoundland and Labrador and get that actual link to the email and contact information. It's pretty straightforward. There's a link there, and as you said, a YouTube video is right on that link as well. Selling the Province is a great place for healthcare workers. Let's hope they all come. The more the merrier. Hey, bye.
And more the merrier. And like I said, if they don't go to that link, if you just went to the main one, they will redirect you to the chapter as well. So it's very simplistic.
Absolutely. Darryl, thanks for the call. We're right at the news. Appreciate it.
Right. And again, thank you very much for your time. Brian, thanks for having me on your show. Keep up the great work, and all the best to you and staff at VOCM and your listening audience. Have a great finish to your day.
Great. You too, Darryl. Thanks very much.
Right on. Thank you.
All right, let's see. Right up to the news. When we come back, we got Anthony talking about power surges. Patrick wants to talk about fixed link, and Pam's going to talk about experiences with Eastern Health. That should be a good one. Right after the news. Welcome back to Open Line. Brian Callahan in for you this week. Let's go right to line number 5. And Patrick, you're on the air.
Hello, Brian.
How are you?
Good. Thank you for taking my call.
Our pleasure.
And thanks to VOCM for doing this show. It's a great service for the people. But the reason I'm calling, 2 days ago on Monday, you had a call with Headley. Headley called in supporting the fixed link to Labrador.
Yes, sir.
And that's what I wanted to talk about. On that call, you mentioned the perception of some people that the link would only benefit the people of Labrador. Mm-hmm. So the point of my call is that this link could be a huge benefit to the entire province. There's an opportunity here for our government of Newfoundland and Labrador to form a proposal with the province of Quebec and to build a good highway along the north shore of the Gulf of St. Lawrence that we're calling the Northern Trans-Canada Highway. So if this link was done in conjunction with and together with that highway, it would be another major transportation link into this province that would get around and bypass the ferry. So that would be huge for this province.
Yeah, no, I mean,
for the entire province.
The point was made. I got an email saying, this is all about Labrador. I mean, it is when you consider that's the connection to the mainland, and absolutely,
Yes.
and you'll get varying opinions whether you're a trucker or whether you're a tourist as to who it benefits most and who it. But I couldn't agree more. Look, having the option and not being locked the way we are by a ferry system that we all agree, and even last week or a couple of weeks ago, the news conference that was held, the Ferry Coalition, forever and a day fighting with the feds over that ferry system and that service, which is unpredictable and inconsistent at the best of times.
That's right, and especially in the winter. I mean, this winter has been terrible on that ferry. It would help tremendously for the entire province. And the thing is, it's an opportunity because the Quebec are building Highway 138 right now. Like I know because my nephew is working on that construction. And they want to complete that highway out to Blanc-Sablon because they are operating a ferry system through there for freight and people along that coast. And that would eliminate that ferry, and they want to develop along that coastline. They have hydro and mining and everything along there, and they want to develop that. So it would be huge for Quebec to have a good highway, a Trans-Canada standard highway along that shore. And of course, it would be great for us because from the tunnel along the Quebec North Shore to Quebec is roughly the same kilometers, within 100 kilometers or so of the distance from Quebec to North Sydney. So if we had that highway, you got the same amount of driving to do, but you don't have the ferry. You don't have that 11 or 12-hour time commitment to get on the ferry. And you can go across that link, and 3 hours you're down to Deer Lake, and away you go. So the Northern Trans-Canada Highway project and the fixed link is what I'm promoting, and I'm working together with Hedley, and I know that the MP for Labrador, Philip Earle, he's interested in this, and so we're working together with the goal of getting our provincial government interested in this opportunity, and doing the legwork and the due diligence to put a proposal together.
Yeah, Patrick, and I certainly didn't mean to dismiss the importance of that other ferry, the cargo and the freight service that goes from the West Coast to Labrador. There's another, argument for it, eliminating the costs and uncertainty with that as well. And look, this topic always reminds me of the controversy over natural gas. They always say there's no economic argument for it. It hasn't been proven out. We can't see the cost-benefit analysis. It's just not proven. The risks are too great. Boy, I'll tell you, Labrador, in no short order, whether it's the pending, we don't know where the MOU stands right now, but beyond even Gull Island and Churchill Falls MOU and further development, is the critical minerals and the hydro and the other industries that are still just on the verge of taking off. I mean, the importance, let alone the critical minerals, is one thing, but sooner or later, that economic argument, I think, I think the pre-feasibility study was done in 2016, and I think they never did do a formal feasibility study. It was estimated to cost about $25 million to do that. But, I think the time, is ripe now. When you look at what's happening everywhere, I cannot see there not being a good, economic argument for that now.
Yes, the time is right for sure. And just on that study, in that study, for some reason, they went with a tunnel boring machine, which is very expensive, ultra expensive, and we don't need that. I don't know why they didn't, and they also went with a rail tunnel. We don't want that. What we want is a highway tunnel, similar to the tunnel that was just completed in 2019 in Norway, in Stavanger, Norway, and it's called the Solbakk Tunnel, Solbakk tunnel, and that was a total distance of 21 kilometers. But it had an undersea portion of 14.4 kilometers undersea. And that tunnel, we could take the plans from that, and I think it would fit our purposes well, you know?
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
And that one, as you said, is about 22 kilometers. This one would be about 16 or 10 miles. And you're right. You're right. The undersea rail tunnel was the option. But again, I think, you know, as time passes, and that was almost 10 years ago now, when the study was completed, the results came in 2018. Yeah. And I think even now, I mean, at the time, they were just they were grasping, I think, at straws. What's the most efficient economic with what they knew at that time? Think times.
Well, I think Brian, actually, if you don't really want something to happen, you set it out and put parameters in place that is not going to look good, and I think that's what happened in this case. I don't know why they didn't go. Norway has been doing undersea tunnels for years, and they don't use a tunnel boring machine. They use the drill and blast method. And they've had great success with them. They have over 30 undersea tunnels in Norway. The tunnel in Stavanger, the Solbakk tunnel, was just built and completed in 2019 using the drill and blast method. They built that tunnel for $15 million Canadian dollars per kilometer of tunnel. Now there's two tunnels side by side, traffic flowing in a direction in each tunnel. So if you if you use those figures, roughly it works out to $500 or $600 million at that time, like to put a tunnel across the Strait of Belle Isle, under the Strait of Belle Isle. You know, so that gives you a rough idea, you know, of the cost involved for that type of tunnel that went in, the Solbakk tunnel.
Well, Patrick, it's been going back to, it was on Joey's plate in 49. We can go back that far to hear it being talked about. I think, again, it really comes to, obviously, you know, to answer, the answer to all of our questions is money. And if this can be done either privately / partner with government in some way, at which point, I mean, government would never get involved in this directly in the past, because if you can't make a very solid case for cost benefit analysis, if you can't find those numbers in the positive category, it's going to be a tough sell for anybody, any business or anyone. They don't want to break even. You got to make something off it. So it's got to be a profit-making venture as well if it's going to be private. But I think the time has come. I'm with you.
Yeah, I think we could use the format that the Confederation Bridge was built under, and that they used the money that they would have committed into the ferry operation there to pay off that over a period of 35 years. So instead of making the payment into the ferry operation, they made it into the bridge. This tunnel and highway would eliminate two ferries, the one in Quebec and the one on the Strait of Belle Isle. So our province is putting in, I think, that's what I've been told, is $12 million per year on a 12-year contract with the operators of that ferry up on the Strait of Belle Isle right now, right? So that would be that could make a payment, an annual payment.
And you know, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
I was going to say
into the cost of the tunnel, and then as well, the study in 2016 said that 60% of the traffic would use this link. If we had the good highway, the Northern Trans-Canada Highway, along the North Shore. 60% of the traffic to the island would use that. So it would probably lessen the amount of money that they need to pay into Marine Atlantic and subsidize Marine Atlantic operation. So
Absolutely.
there would be some money some money available there that could be put into an annual payment.
We haven't even, and Patrick, only because I'm sorry to interrupt, only because I'm past the break here, we haven't even discussed the jobs and the spin-offs from this decade-long, it would be about a decade-long construction period apparently to fully get into and almost complete the thing, at least looking at least 10 years almost. So, I mean, the spin-offs economically, jobs and all that sort of thing should also be factored in. Patrick, I'm way past the break. Last comment.
Yeah. Just one more thing, and of course it would be huge for the people of Labrador because their medical, their commercial, their educational facility, are mainly in on the island. So it would be huge for the people of Labrador to have that connection to the island, to St. Anthony Hospital, for instance.
Yep.
So why can't we do this? This should have been done years ago. Tom Kieran's promoted this. Mm-hmm. You may remember it in the 1990s. He was on the Here and Now show with.
He was everywhere. Tom was great. 100 years old, was still driving a car.
Yeah, but he was promoting this in the 1990s when the Confederation Bridge was being built. He's the one that termed it the Northern Trans-Canada Highway. And he said that this would be the hugest economic benefit to this province since Confederation. So this is going to be huge. There's also military connotations because this is building a highway towards the Arctic. It will be
Patrick,
a good
I really
highway.
got to get to the break. I was going to give. I gave you one more comment.
You go ahead.
I'm going to be hammered. I'm 3 minutes over now. Look, point taken. The big companies that are looking at Labrador right now, all those good reasons. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Thanks for the call.
Right. Thank you very much, Brian.
Thanks again.
Bye now.
Okay, bye. Yeah. I get in big trouble going past those breaks. I'm really sorry, Dave. Let's take that break and right back with Pam talking about Eastern Health right after the break. Welcome back to the program. As promised, line 2. And Pam, you're on the air.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
It's a loaded question these days, Pam. I'm surviving.
I've been listening this morning. It's certainly a challenge, keeping it together. But you're doing a great job.
Thanks. It's early days, and maybe late days, and maybe no days. Who knows?
One never knows. Hey,
absolutely.
Life is a day.
Day at a time.
A day at a time. A quick shout out, if I can, to Felicia Power. Felicia Power, if folks don't know her, she was one of the contestants in the Miss Newfoundland and Labrador pageant that happened late last month. And Felicia has Down syndrome. She's a great advocate for just being the best you. She actually was awarded. She didn't win, but she won. She did win her, and she won Miss Friendship in People's Choice. And Cassidy Berry, who's also Sunshine, I've known her for quite some time. Also came away with the winner. Felicia Power did a beautiful job, and just so proud of her. To have her in my circle means a lot. So just a quick shout out to Felicia Power. Congratulations.
That's fantastic. Yep, I saw that. Felicia Rosemary Power. There's a lot of social media on that I float.
Her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, she's fabulous.
Cool.
Just wanted to make a comment about, all aspects of our healthcare system. Myself and Skipper hubby has been in contact with over the last couple of days. Just a couple of hours before the storm, he wasn't feeling well. We called 811, went through that process, and with the looming storm coming and some other obligations, the 811 line, which is always helpful, suggested that within the next couple of days, when it was safe to do so, that he go into emergency and get checked out. So yesterday morning, he still was feeling terrible, so we got up. We had never been to the urgent healthcare facility, the new one on Stefanga Drive, but with some conversations with folks, we decided we'd head there. Go ahead.
Oh, no, that's it. I'm listening.
Yeah. Okay. And so we took a cab because we, not feeling well, we hadn't, of course, stuck out. So it was $50 over to Stefanga Drive. We get inside, and we're hanging out there for close to an hour when we're wondering, how come no numbers are being called? What's going on? And we start hearing some rumblings that the internet was down and nothing was working there. So there was a whole bunch of confusion. We were being told it could be up in minutes or it could be up in the next day. Finally, they started, kind of kicking people out, telling them that they had to leave. And there was kind of this feeling, everyone around us, of, we had gone over in a cab, so we're going to have to take a cab back now. You're not feeling well. Obviously, that's kind of a pain, literally and figuratively. And but there was people around us who had come in before the storms for appointments, had stayed a bunch of days in hotels, had that extra cost for cash, and now they're scheduled appointments because it's not only emergency care, it's also appointments and that type of thing. So there was a lot of confusion, and we were just shaking our heads. We kind of left in a saying, like, what does our healthcare come to when you can't be seen by a doctor, when nobody can take any information down on a piece of paper? Like, this is just, kind of ridiculous. So another $50 back. We had to go to, of course, the Health Science Center. Now, that experience was totally different. I have to say, knock on wood, we're very lucky. We don't have to avail of healthcare services very often. But there's something that I hadn't been familiar with. I think it's called the Ambassador Program. And so now they have these ambassadors that are there at the emergency area, and they're kind of a facilitator, somebody who's stationed in the waiting room and who takes care of, if somebody comes in by an ambulance and the family member drives in a car, they are there to reassure them, to let them know that their loved one is back there, they're being taken care of, they're fine, and that they can't, their loved ones can't go in yet, but they will be notified when they can. If, in our instance, Skipper had to have some testing done, he had to have some blood work, some urine, and he also had to have a CAT scan. So this person is there, so you're not, tying up the lines as people are waiting to get seen and registered, triage, that type of thing. So this facilitator will come over and say, hey, you're back from your test. I'm going to let everyone know. What's your name? And I just have to give a shout out to this guy. The facilitator yesterday, when we were there for our 8 hours, was Steve. And he was amazing. Just the care, the comedy, the humor, the compassion that we were able to observe. Yes, we were there sitting in the waiting room for a very, very long time. However, just watching this gentleman deal with all the different circumstances that he had, from dealing with, someone youthful who had been brought in to the many seniors who came in yesterday with a variety of health concerns, was incredible to watch. So that ambassador program is a wonderful program, in my opinion. I've
had that mentioned to me myself, Pam, a few times. That was launched back in 2024, actually, in November of 2024. It's been in place that long. Wow. Fortunately, I haven't, knock on wood, I haven't been in the position where I've had to avail. But I've had a couple of people mention it, because we all know that, we've heard the unions, in Nurses Union, we've heard everybody talk about, they have enough to deal with. The actual frontline healthcare workers, whether you're the intake nurse, whether you're the emergency doctors, they're dealing with the medical issue that you're coming in with. But when you're just there and you feel like you have no one on your side, or no one there understands, or God forbid, the tragic situation with the Power family, where waiting in the waiting room and the husband passes away. I mean, look, just some kind of contact, knowing that somebody is aware, can guide you through, can at least be somewhat of a facilitator. Just improving the overall experience in there. I mean, it's not. I'll tell you, it can't be an easy job either. But I think it's brilliant. It's a great addition to it. I'd like to hear if any other people have been helped by it. Pam, I got a minute to go. Do you want to wrap it up?
Shout out to Steve, the ambassador, for yesterday, and anybody who has that job. It's probably thankless on many days, and I just want to say that he did an incredible job.
Awesome. Yeah, you can see them. I think they're wearing these light blue polo shirts. They're right around they're right there in the emergency areas. So shout out, heeded and taken, and it's out there.
Have a great day.
You too. Thanks, Pam, very much. All right, let's take that break right on the break. Dave, right back. Welcome back to the show. Let's go right to line number 4. And Burgeo Mayor Trevor Green, you're on the air.
Hi, how are you this evening, or this morning?
I'm with you. It could be either or. Pretty good. How are yourself?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad.
Mayor Green, we know that the province has now terminated the MOU that would have determined the feasibility of that South Fjords Marine Protected Area. There are a lot of yays and nays on this one. What has been the town's reaction? What was your reaction when you learned of this?
Certainly, yeah. There's mixed yeas and nays there. For the town ourselves, I mean, we understood that the PC government didn't support it. That was part of their campaign. However, our biggest point was, we've reached out numerous times and said, let's meet, let's talk, let's, put some facts on the table. And when we got the call yesterday from Minister Tibbs, they couldn't put any facts on the table. They couldn't give us factual-based decision-making when they decided to pull out of the MOU.
So where does that leave you? I mean, if you can't get a fact from them, what, if any, explanation did they give you for the rationale?
They're focused on industry, and I mean, understandably, Town of Burgeo is the same thing. I mean, we've said right from the beginning we wanted coexistence, and whether that be with agriculture or mining or whatever industry it may be, we wanted to work together with it to make it work. We've had many conversations with different folks in agriculture, and quite often, they'd say, "Well, we're not getting the answers we're looking for," and it's okay. Well, bring them to us. We'll get the answers for you. And we would get them the answers, and then it was crickets, right? You wouldn't hear anything back after that. So
it must be pretty frustrating, though, when it's just a blanket no, we're out. And there are so many people involved. There are so many other organizations. Have you had any communication with the Mi'apacook First Nation or the FFAW? Have you had any discussions back and forth? I mean, it is some rich marine land, and there is that tug and pull of, as you mentioned, industry, economy over protecting, the environment and marine protected special areas just like this. So, is there a clear upside or downside to this that you can see, that you can, approach with an objective eye?
I mean, for myself, and the town's stance was, let's finish the MOU, let's get the feasibility study done, and let's go to negotiations and see what it is. We don't even know what it is yet. We've only got recommendations and a small map that Parks Canada has put out. That doesn't necessarily mean that's what it's going to be. It's got to go to negotiations so we can look at exactly what it is. It's like buying a car. If you go to a car dealership tomorrow to buy a car, and the salesman says, "There's your car, you're getting it," that's what you bought. But that's not what you want. You want to negotiate.
Yeah, no, I mean, no argument here. I guess if it's, does it seem final to you? Does it seem like you're, this is just the way it's going to be and there's going to be no other way? Or do you have any other meetings planned to try to see if there's any interest at all at least at completing the MOU? Yeah.
Minister Tibbs did allude yesterday that, hopefully we could have another conversation in the near future. The government has given us a 14-day notice that they're going to pull out of the MOU. So I'm hoping within these 14 days that the government will be responsible enough to sit down with us and sit around the table and talk about it. And let's put the facts on the table, right? And really, I'd love to see at least the feasibility study done and get to negotiations. At the end of the day, if you're not happy with it during negotiations, any one of the 5 signatories can pull out.
Absolutely.
Including the town of Burgeo.
Can you just, give listeners an idea of the value of it becoming a marine protected area?
Well, I mean, I'll use the park as my example on this one. So the operating budget from the provincial government for Sandbanks Park last year was around $150,000. Most of that went towards wages, and there was about $18,000 to $20,000 there for maintenance of the park. With this conservation area and the park would be the first terrestrial park in Canada, their operating budget for the first year was $2 million.
Okay,
so
that's a big number.
The upgrades and the jobs there alone, I think, would be, that's substantial, right? And it's substantial for tourism. I mean, Burgeo as a whole right now, we're pushing for tourism as the rest of Newfoundland is. I mean, Newfoundland's a beautiful province. It's got beautiful scenery. Why not showcase that, right?
It almost seems as if this is such a clearer picture of of possibility as opposed to the uncertainty of what might happen or might not happen with other projects in that area that, which seems to be, the offset here, right? So this seems to be pretty straightforward, but the unknown seems to be what the government's banking on. Is that fair to say?
I would say, I mean, and that's really what it is. It's the unknown, right? And if you don't know, you don't know. So why not get it to the table so that you know?
Absolutely.
It's the easiest way for me to put it.
Yeah, absolutely fair question. Well, Mayor Green, I appreciate the call. It's there. They had that 2-week notice. And I guess if there's any, if the minister has said, he's open to another discussion within the next 2 weeks, that can't be a bad thing. Communication's always.
I'm hoping it is within the next 2 weeks. He didn't really give us a timeline at the time yesterday morning, but I'm really hoping that over the next couple of days he reaches out and that the government sits down at the table with us.
Yeah, any kind of communication when it seems like this is a pretty final decision. Who knows? Maybe cooler heads will prevail. Maybe there'll be information that we shared that others weren't aware of. There's more than a few groups involved here with an interest in this, so we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, from the town's side, we weren't consulted on this decision whatsoever, right? I mean, we made multiple attempts to reach out to speak with them and get a conversation started, and we never even had a chance to start the conversation. So.
Yeah, and that's an area there, when you don't go out of your way to consult all of the people involved, one or two of them are going to come back at you, whether it's in the media or where you're going to have to go back and make changes. If you consult everybody, all your bases are covered. If you leave people out of it, it's only going to be a recipe for disaster down the road. Mayor Green, thanks. Last comment, if you like, before we sign up.
No, I most certainly. I plead to the government that they reach out to us and let's start a conversation and see this to the end.
Absolutely. Burgeo Mayor, Trevor Green, I really appreciate you making time for the show. Thanks so much.
Thanks. You have a great day.
You too. All right. Let's, thanks to busy mayors around this province this week, I'll tell you. Let's go to line 3, and Anthony, you're on the air.
Yes, sir. Good morning. I'm calling just regards, I lost a drawer and a fridge both at the same time. I'm from Portygrave out around Bay Roberts area. And both of it went at the same time, and when we brought it up to the local place where you throw away your stoves and that, we were the third load from Portygrave that came there with major appliances. So I was just curious if I get feedback if maybe it's a power surge that done it, or I'm not really sure, but I'm just interested to see if anyone else experienced this.
Yeah, no, this is the way to do it. I don't know about out around Bay Roberts, Portygrave area. So it seems like you might have had just power surges that might have blown them to bits, or were they relatively new, washer, dryer? Or?
Tell you the fridge has gone long before he's time.
Oh, so the fridge has got, and did you say a dryer too or a washer?
Well, the fridge and the dryer, both of it. But the fridge was gone. It shouldn't have burned out. It wasn't that old.
And when did you lose it? Or when did it happen?
It was the 28th.
28th.
It was around the 28th, I think.
Okay, so last week, I guess that'll go a long way to finding out if anyone else experienced the same thing. So at least we know it was on the 28th, and you're thinking there might have been you suspect there might have been an overall power surge that did it?
Yeah, for both of it to go at the same time, wouldn't you think that'd be too coincidental?
Absolutely. In your house, the next thing I do is I go to my breaker and see what's going on there. But absolutely, 2 different appliances, 2 different ages, no connection other than the fact that they're on your power in your house. We'll put it out there, Anthony, and see if anyone else in the area had the same issue. Got any warranty left on them?
I'm not sure. I got to check into that. I got a lot of digging around to do to find receipts and stuff. But listen, thank you very much. I got to say you're doing a really good job. You have a good day.
I appreciate the kind words. Thanks so much, Anthony. I hope, listen, if we hear anything, we got your contact info, and anybody else who had that kind of issue out around your way, give us a shout. Thanks again for the call. All right, that's Anthony going right to line number 2, and Connie, you're on the air.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
It's my first time on calling, so a little nervous. I'm a coach with St. John's Explorer Special Olympics, and I just wanted to mention about a fundraiser that we're having on Friday night.
Great, go for it.
We're having paint night. We still have about 10 spaces available. It's on February 6th, Friday night, obviously. Knights of Columbus, 49 St. Clair Avenue, and it's from 6 to 9. And the price is $40. And my contact information is 709-746-7342, or they can message me at ConniePittman068@gmail.com.
Tell me more about it, Connie. Tell me your organization one more time.
Okay, it's Special Olympics, and we have a lot of branches, and our branch is in St. John's. We're called St. John's Explorers. It's a really good organization. I started coaching, and I'm on the board probably about 3 years ago when my brother came to live with me. He's in Special Olympics, and my cousin are in Special Olympics. And they are the most amazing group of people that you could ever imagine. So inclusive, and like I do coaching Monday night for bowling. They love to get to do good, but if one of their friends do good, like they're up cheering for them and so happy for them, and dances, everybody will get up and dance. It's amazing. It's just a really amazing organization, and we have a lot of programs. We do curling, they have dance classes, they do snowshoeing, we have 3 nights of bowling, they do floorball, they do basketball. And so it's really amazing.
The positivity that Special Olympics yields, Connie, is absolutely incredible. Any involvement you have, the feeling that you get, and just the happiness and the positivity, and just the, devil may care about any other things other than having, making the most of your life, and smiles on the faces, and good times, and high fives and hugs. Oh my God! Any involvement I've had. You just can't help but walk away with whether it's a lump in your throat or a big old smile on your heart. I'm telling you, it warms the cockles.
I've gone there on days when I was working and had a really bad day at work, and as soon as I go in there and just talking to them and see the excitement, it's just turned your day totally around, I got to tell you. Yeah,
I couldn't agree with you more. Connie, so one more time, it's this Friday at the Knights of Columbus on St. Clair Avenue?
From 6 to 9.
Yep.
And my contact information is 709-746-7342. And my email is conniepittman068@gmail.com. And the cost is $40. And this helps keep the cost down for them. And we also have, our curlers are going to a competition in April. And we have some athletes actually going up to the games in Alberta in August.
Ah, wicked. Great.
Yeah, so they're all excited about that.
And this is paint night, right?
Yes, it is.
Paint night, going to be a time. I'm telling you. Thanks so much for the call. Good luck with it. And, as we always say, if you can give us a follow-up maybe next week, let us know how it went and the mood, which I know what the mood's going to be like. So if you want really something different to drop in and just, as I said, feel great about life afterward, it is one for you. Thanks, Connie, so much for the call. Dave has your info, so if anyone didn't catch it just as you riddle it off there, you can give us a shout here and we'll get that information to you. But Friday night at the Knights of Columbus on St. Clair Avenue. Thanks again. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you. All right,
bye.
Quick break, and back with Ruby right after the break. Welcome back to the program. Let's go right to line number 1, and Ruby, you're on the air.
Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Ruby. How are you? Oh, you're Ruby from yesterday.
I'm good
today. You're good today.
Yes, I'm sending a big bouquet to you, VOCM, and the people that were here yesterday to dig me out.
Oh, God love them. Right on.
Only for you. I don't think I would be dug out.
Only for open line, let's be clear.
And open line too, yes.
Yeah. Well, look, we always say follow us up, let us know how things work out. So I think you had an appointment today, did you?
Yes, this afternoon.
God love him. And I had a buddy of mine. I didn't know whether he got over or not, but I'm glad to hear he did in the end. And cleared out your driveway right at that tense moments intersection at the top of Canals Hill, right?
Yes.
Well, that's great. Listen, it's the magic of open line. I'm glad we could help out, and not everybody's got a blade they can drop, but they took care of you, and that is fantastic news. So I'm really happy, and I'm glad. Thanks very much for calling back and letting us know you were taken care of.
Yes, okay, Brian. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you and the young man was here yesterday.
Oh, God love him. Thanks, and I will pass it on. I'm sure he's having a listen too. He never misses open line himself, which is why he was able to scramble so quickly, I think. So that's great. It worked out.
Okay, thanks, Brian.
Thanks for taking the time to call back. Thanks, Ruby.
And have a good day.
You too. Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Deadly. Okay, that's the way open line works. Let's go right to line number 8. And Dwan Street, the president of the FFAW, you're on the air.
Good morning, Brian. It's always good to hear calls like Ruby's, and just kind of drives home the importance of a program like this.
Oh my God! You got any good news stories you can share before we get into the other stuff?
Our industry tends to bring the negative ones most often to the airwaves, which is that's the unfortunate part of it all.
Sure, but we're always open to the positive vibes too. But I have a feeling I know what you're going to probably have a chat about today, what we have been talking about earlier, the marine protected areas. Am I in the right ballpark?
You are, and unfortunately, I didn't get to hear the entirety of Mayor Green's call, but I did catch the tail end there, and we have a bit of a different view on all of this, and we were very relieved yesterday when we got the call that the province was pulling the support for the MOU. It was released for our members, and really drove home to us that the Premier and the Minister are actually listening to our concerns, because this was one of the big commitments that we had asked for during the election campaign.
Yeah, so do you have any, appreciation for the other side of this argument?
We do, but there's a bit of concern there too, right? Like I said, I just heard the tail end of Mayor Green's call, and to hear him reference the operating budget of Parks Canada, like the $2 million and, what that's going to bring into their economy. And to hear him talking about the importance of tourism. And listen, I'm from Bonavista. I know what tourism does to a community. But I think you kind of have to look at input versus output as well. So, if you're bringing in tourists who are going to look at that water and be like, my God, that's beautiful, that's great. But then you have the people in your community who rely on that ocean and can no longer make a living from it. And we've been asking some questions from Parks Canada from the start. And this whole process has been so murky and just kind of giving us the heebie-jeebies the whole way, right? Because they'll throw out numbers like, well, this is going to bring $100 million into these communities. And we'll say, well, how? Show us. And they can't. And they'll say, well, this is going to create all these jobs. And we'll say, okay, when and how? When they can't. And tourism is great, but, tourism is only so many months a year. And the fishery in that area, these are not big, massive vessels. These are small boat, multi-species enterprises. And to kind of say that a joint committee can manage that and fisheries won't be affected, well, that's kind of misleading too, because there are certain fisheries that under an NMCA are absolutely not permitted. Not just think about the scallop fishery in that area. Bottom dragging is not permitted whatsoever in an NMCA. And the scallop fishery in that area, though it's fairly low volume, is very high value, and it's important to our members. And we're very, very fortunate that we have a strong fish harvesters committee in that area who have been driving this message home to government, the town, everybody, to say, look, this is our livelihood, and we're going to lose that if this goes ahead. So this one is just one small piece as well in a larger conversation we've been having with DFO, with Oceans, with Parks Canada, show us that these closed areas actually achieve something. Because I just look at some of the old ones that have been closed for decades, like the Funk Island Deep, the Hawk Box. They were closed for a specific purpose. And decades later down the road, what we're seeing is they've actually achieved the opposite. They've thrown out the ecosystem. We've got, a species you were trying to protect is now a heavy predator of another species, and it just doesn't work. So our Inshore Council actually passed a motion at our last meeting that until we see hard evidence that these closures actually achieve something that's beneficial to the ecosystem, to the socioeconomic wellness of the region, and to the industry, then we are not interested at all in negotiating or supporting closures.
Wouldn't furthering, at least completing the period for the MOU rather than just interrupting it in the middle? I think Mayor Green made the point of, first of all, just cancelling it, terminating it midstream, and then on top of that, the lack of communication seems to be atop of his list, as opposed to just complete opposition.
Well, I did read the release from the town of Burgeo, and, Mayor Green feels exactly now how we've felt through this entire process. There was no communication. Harvesters weren't at the table. I can draw one example of we pushed so hard for a meeting with Parks Canada to get harvesters to the table to speak their minds and get their opinions out there. And they held the meeting. But at the same time, that same day, they held a meeting with folks they knew were going to be supportive. And the only messaging that went out to the media and to the people of this province was how supportive everybody was of the closure. The whole process has not been above board as far as we're concerned. we have gotten some very wishy-washy answers. We know there was an employee of Parks Canada who went into a meeting trashing DFO, trashing the union, just bad-mouthing us and saying we weren't working on behalf of our members because this closure was actually good for them. But our members are not stupid, and they know what this means. And you can put as much flowery language around it as you want, but we know this means no fishing. Now, is it all fishing? Absolutely not. But you are removing some fishing methods and gear types from the area. And when you look at towns like Burgeo, for example, and how reliant folks are on the fishing industry, I mean, it's the lifeblood of that community. It always has been. So you should be protecting the livelihoods of the people who live in that community rather than worrying about tourists coming in and, for throwing around a couple of bucks for a couple of days and then they leave again and they never come back. Yeah. So we listen very seriously to our members when they come to us and they're worried. And as soon as we heard this yesterday, our phone started blowing up, and it was just relief all around.
Yeah. Well, it seems that, the mayor of Burgeo will be the first one to say, we'll decide what's best for our town. Thank you very much. And whether or not, the fishery is more important than a potential economic development in that area. I mean, it's the tug and pull, isn't it? It's the back and forth all the time. Both sides feel hard done by. Both sides feel they haven't had the proper communication. It feels like a start over and try again kind of process. Dwan, I'm really sorry. Right up to the news. I'll give you just another minute to clue up.
No worries. Again, I just want to say thank you to our Harvesters Committee in the area, very strong voices, and also to now Secretary Treasurer Jamie Baker, who was the staff rep in the area when all this was going down, and our industry liaison, Katie Power, as well. They all worked very, very hard to make sure our members' voices were heard on this, and it's clear that our government was listening. Yeah,
shout out to Jamie, former colleague over at the Telegram back in the day for me. Dwan Street, President of the FFAW. Dwan, thanks for the time today. I know there's just a few things on your plate, so thanks for making time for this program.
Thank you. Pleasure as always.
Thanks again. Bye. All right, Dave, off to the news.
You're listening to a rebroadcast of VOCM Open Line. Have your say by calling 709-273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626 and listen live weekday mornings at 9 a.m.
And welcome back to the final hour for this Hump Day Wednesday, up to line number 1. And MHA for St. John's East Kitty Sheila O'Leary for the NDP, of course. You're on the air.
Oh, good morning. Good morning. Thanks for taking my call. And what a winter we're having, hey? It's just something else.
You never know. No, absolutely, Sheila. It's smacking us in the face, left, right, and center. It's a body blow, and then it's an uppercut, and it seems to happen every Monday for some reason. I have no idea.
Exactly. Well, look, not unrelated. I'm calling in because I wanted to let you and your listeners know that the NDP, myself and Jim Dinn, are hosting a town hall on home heating tomorrow evening from 7 to 9 at the Hub on Mary Meeting Road. You know that this has been a long-standing issue for the NDP. It's about focusing on affordability and cutting the costs on home heating. And we're really anxious to hear from people about their realities that they're going through, and to help us guide to further solutions, right? We've been calling, as you might recall from our campaign promises and even prior to that we know that removing HST would mean immediate relief. And we're also looking for other solutions going forward. We haven't gotten the support, certainly, from the other parties on this issue. Liberals said that it couldn't be done, which is, not completely accurate. And so we know that people are calling in to our constituencies on a regular basis, and they are really struggling to afford living, afford the cost of, and making choices between food and home heating. So, there really has to be some immediate relief in some regard. And but ultimately, this town hall is an opportunity for people to come, and have their say and provide their input and their experiences, and so that we can start exploring long-term fixes to this system that obviously is keeping people, cold in their homes and making terrible choices.
Yeah, absolutely. The NDP, as you mentioned, the party going into the last election did promise, committed to removing the provincial portion of the HST. And as you mentioned, the Liberals didn't, but lo and behold, as we recall, the Liberals said they couldn't. At least Finance Minister Siobhan Cody, in my recollection, said it couldn't be done. And then lo and behold, they made that promise themselves, the Liberals did, under Premier John Hogan before the election, which of course they did not win. And then just it wasn't a couple of weeks. I'm trying to remember when this was. I think it was just before Christmas, Sheila. I had a chance to a quick scrum with the Premier, Tony Wakeham. It was the NL Sports Awards over at the Fieldhouse, and there were no other media there. I caught up with him for a few minutes. We had a quick chat, and I put it to him again. I asked him if there's any plan to follow through on the commitment that the Liberals and the NDP had made. The NDP made it first, as you noted, to remove the HST. And I think his answer to me, I know his answer. I'm going to very much paraphrase what he said, but at the time it was, his opinion or the feeling that HST would only really, removing it would only really benefit those with big houses, with the biggest heat bills, and that it would be minimal, really, for those who really need it, people on a lower scale. I mean, that was the response at the time. He mentioned, the bigger homes are the ones that really benefit from something like that, suggesting that it would only benefit, say, the more, affluent people in society, or a middle class, I should say, as opposed to those really struggling.
Not what we're hearing from our constituents, I can guarantee you that. And you know what, for a party that's standing on affordability, I find that very fascinating, actually, that response. So thank you for passing that along. Look, home heating is not a luxury. We're not talking about luxury homes here. It's a necessity. And we live in a culture and a geographic location where we absolutely have to have heated homes. And so this is not the big fix. This suggestion that was put forward, certainly about taking the HST off home heating, is an interim. This is to give a little bit of interim relief. But again, we're calling to find out, where is the government's plan? Where is the government's plan to make home heating more affordable? So we're inviting people to come out. Well, we know we've seen certainly the complaints that went to the consumer advocate, who has now left that position. We've heard incredible outrage about this, and people feel helpless. And so I think it's extremely important that we have this discussion, that we invite people to come and have their say. We will be hosting a petition as well, bring back the residential energy rebate, and we invite people who cannot make it to the town hall to check out our NDP website to actually sign that petition. But you know what, there's an opportunity for real true discussion about how we can make life more affordable for people, especially in our winter climate here, where home heating is not something that everybody can afford.
Yeah. Right. And it should be noted that you're not looking for it just off power bills. You'd want it off some essential items, right? Like clothing, footwear, car seats, anything that people absolutely need and could use that break on the price.
Absolutely. And, look, the people are choosing, in terms of the heating aspect, people are choosing to stay cold to afford other needs. That's just not acceptable. It shouldn't be like this. We need to ensure that people have the opportunity to stay warm in their homes. And again, this is only one small solution. We're asking people for their input. We want them to guide us to more solution making and to hold the government accountable on what is their plan to make life more affordable. So, we're, like I said, we're hearing this from all ends of the spectrum, and it is not just about the wealthy. This actually, it's about people who are living on the borderline and have to make choices between home heating and food. And we know what the cost of food is like right now. And you might recall, of course, the onslaught that happened to the consumer advocate. Mm-hmm. People who were calling in about this issue. This is an opportunity to have your say. So come on down to the Hub tomorrow evening, Thursday evening, from 7 to 9. Have your say, sign a petition, provide your input, and, we're there to listen.
And just to be clear, this is the Hub on Mary Meeting Road and not the new ambulatory health hub down off Stavanger.
Absolutely. The Hub, which is an accessible building there on Mary Meeting Road in the district of St. John's, East Kitty there. So we're just really interested in having people's feedback. I think it's really important that we hold government to task on their plan on how we're going to make life more affordable. And let's have a chat about it.
Absolutely.
Myself and Jim Din, the leader, will be there.
And just one more time, I know you just said it, so tomorrow night, the time again?
7 to 9 at the Hub on Mary Meeting Road.
And all are welcome, and then slide down the road for a feed of fish and chips from Jess's right after that. Shameless plug.
You got it. Wonderful. Well, thanks, Brian, for allowing me the opportunity to talk about it. And we really are interested in having people come forward with all of their issues, but certainly if they have any solutions, we're here to listen, have that conversation, and people can have a voice.
Absolutely. Sheila O'Leary, the MHA for St. John's East Kitty Vitty, NDP MHA for St. John's East Kitty Vitty. Thanks for the call, Sheila. Good luck tomorrow night.
Okay, thank you.
Hope you block, sir. You too. Bye. Okay, Dave, take that break. Right back with Tom and the Hub after the break. Welcome back to the show. Just traffic note now before we get into our next caller. So the lights down by the Jack Byrne on Torbay Road are apparently covered in ice. So that's obscuring them. You really can't see, what color they're changing, if they're changing at all. So, in a situation like that, if you can't make out, it turns really into pretty much a four-way stop just to be on the safe side. And, of course, if you need any kind of refresher on four-way stop, the easiest thing to remember, if you all get there at the same time, well, first of all, everybody has to come to a stop. And the first vehicle who gets there has the right of way. So, and sometimes, everybody gets there at a time. It's hard to tell exactly and whatever. So, I just, always caution first and let the other go. But if there's several at a time get there at the same time, the vehicle on the right goes first. The left vehicle yields to the vehicle on the right. And, of course, if there's anyone at the crosswalk, they have the right of way. Anyone near the crosswalk, you can never be too safe there, so let them go. But I run into that quite a bit, no pun intended. I run into, people will want to wave you through. Even though for a fact they got there first and they're waving you through, that's all fine and it's very polite and nice. But when you upset the apple cart like that, the norm of how you're supposed to do it, it just kind of throws everything in flux because the next vehicle doesn't know and then the next vehicle. And it's nice to be courteous. But, everybody has an understanding. The law is, or the rules on a four-way stop are pretty straightforward. Everybody follows them. It should work well, like a roundabout, but we know whether it should and whether it doesn't always happen. Let's go to line number 3, and Tom Babcock, you're on the air.
Morning, Brian. How are you, boy?
Good morning. I guess you might have caught a bit of my conversation there with Sheila about the Hub, and I think last week you were mentioning some of the confusion over your Hub and the ambulatory Hub down off Stavanger, the new one.
Oh, yeah, we're still getting lots of calls, Brian. Every day we get at least a couple of people saying that, something happened, they couldn't get there, or canceling appointments, or want to make an appointment, and I spoke to Eastern Health, 4 or 5 months ago, and I said, what was in your minds when you come up with that Hub name? And the lady wasn't even aware of it. When she did, she said, oh, my God. And she said, we'll try and do something about it when we're promoting it. But, the deed is done. We're the Hub. And so as soon as people think of the Hub, they call us. And that's all we can do. The unfortunate thing is that some of the people actually show up in taxis. And come in, release the taxi, and having paid for the taxi, and my heart bleeds for them. But what can you do about it? It's done. So
no, you've been established there for some. Yeah, the Hub's been an institution for literally, for as long as I can remember. So when a new one comes along, I can see what can happen. It must be a bit of a headache and a nightmare.
That does. Anyway, I want to make a shout out to Sheila too. Having just listened to her, Sheila's great. Sheila calls you back. If you got an issue, call Sheila. She'll call you back. I've spoken to her a couple of times since she's got elected about a couple of issues we had with the Hub, and she not only she called me back almost the same day, but then she calls back to follow up to make sure that somebody has called me to do it. So, I want to let people know that Sheila's great. She was great when she was on council, and now that she's our MHA. Yeah, for the longest while, Tom, she was the always polling the most votes, and automatically getting the deputy mayor seat because of that. When you're doing something right, hey. You are. My reason for the call was that I was driving up Mary Meeting Road this morning, when Mr. Murray called, and the two issues that caused me to call into you was the first one, where he hit the nail right on the head, where they said that the city has cleared something like 192 clicks of sidewalks, and he said so appropriately that, yeah, like I drive Columbus Drive every day, driving my wife to work at the Janeway, and all the sidewalks are cleared, and you may see two people. Driving up Mayor Meeting Road this morning, first of all, it's one way. It's one-way traffic because you have to stop for every pedestrian. And I know it's a different issue clearing snow on Mayor Meeting Road than it is on Columbus Drive, because you have to actually take away the snow. But man, oh man, it's like a war zone down in that area of town. So, kudos to him. He hit the nail right on the head when he said to the city, you really, really got to work on the areas where people are actually walking. Like Sheila's having a meeting there tomorrow night. And I want to caution people that if you're walking, be very, very, very careful, because you have to walk on the street, and it's barely, even when there's no pedestrian there, there's barely enough room for two cars to pass. And if the bus is there or if there's a pedestrian there, you got to stop. So, I want to be able to echo Mr. Murray's words to say to the city, it's great to clear Columbus Drive, but you're clearing it for 2 or 3 people. For Mayor Meeting Road, you're clearing it for hundreds.
Yeah, and it's every street downtown. I mean, I live right down in the thick of it. Every street really is kind of one way right now. All those, maybe save for the main thoroughfares, say Harvey Road or Le Marchant and that sort of thing. But any of the side roads, down through below Le Marchant, above Le Marchant, all of those sections, they're all right now really one lane. Courtesy needs to be top of mind for everybody. And pedestrians, like you said, anyone with a big mirror off the side of a truck, could be, even that can be tense moments, as vehicles are passing. You just got to be so aware. And we had Greg Noseworthy on yesterday, the council's lead for Public Works, talk. I don't know if you heard that call.
I didn't, but I know Greg. I know. I've spoken to him a dozen times, yes.
Yeah, and they speak to the priority, and of course they actually put more money in the budget this year, or last year, I guess late last year, for snow clearing this year, and particularly for sidewalk snow clearing. I can't see it today, and I know, Tom, they'll always say there's got to be at least a day or two. It's a challenge downtown. There's no question. It's unlike, it's not. Yep, sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm just agreeing with you, what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just...
It really is a challenge.
Yeah, it's a unique challenge, unlike most cities. I mean, we're an older city. The streets weren't, gridded out like a Toronto or anything like that. It's an older city that's, so narrow streets, and big, heavy snowfalls take a while to clear away, and I get that. And the little plows are smaller than the big plows, and they can't just push it all one way. And then, you're always dealing with the resident complaints about getting snow thrown into their properties and all that sort of thing. It is a tangle. It's an orchestrated mayhem sometimes down there. And, I hesitate to be too hard on the city, only because, you know what they're up against, and the last thing they want to do. I mean, they want to limit these complaints, as best they can. But it's a challenge. There's no question. Every year.
Yeah, and one more quick point was that when his initial part of the call, when he was speaking to you about all these people driving vehicles that are uninsured, unlicensed, and all those things, I wrote a piece for the Telegram a couple of years ago where I offered a suggestion, and I actually wrote over to the Minister of Transportation at the time, and I said, listen, why in the name of goodness am I allowed today to sell my vehicle to Brian Callahan, for example, and Brian comes in, gives me $500 and takes my car and goes? Why don't I be required to say to Brian, you got a driver's license? Brian, do you have insurance? I can't buy a car from a dealer unless I have a driver's license and I have insurance. So why should I, as a personal citizen, be allowed to sell you my car if you don't have a driver's license or some insurance? And if you're not going to put that owner on me, then put it on me from my capacity as a Commissioner of Votes and say that you can't sell a vehicle unless a Commissioner of Votes stamps it the bill of sale, and then the Commissioner of Oaths has to be able to show that the person has a driver's license and some insurance, and that would stop it right away. To say, because this is where the people, he's so correct in this issue as well. This is where these people are getting their cars from. I have an old clunker that's not worth anything, and I put it on Kijiji for $500. Somebody comes and takes it. I do advise motor vehicle registration that it's been sold, but the person takes it and continues to drive it until the cops catch him.
Yep.
So I should not be allowed to do that. And that's the simple solution. Require me by law that if I sell a motor vehicle, the person has to show me that they have insurance and a driver's license. And that would solve the problem.
And Tom, that in theory absolutely would solve the problem. But you know as well as I do, if you got an old clunker and you're trying to unload it and get rid of it, and you have to start questioning the person who wants to buy it about specific and personal things like how's your driver's out, or do you have insurance and all that, that sale's not going to happen. He's going to go, you're going to lose the sale, you're going to have that money's out of pocket, and you need that money for whatever reason. I agree. Private sales absolutely should have requirements. I just don't know how realistic it is for some people to follow them, because it's not like the police are at your window asking for your driver's license, registration, and your insurance. This is just a private sale between two people, and they just want to get in and out as quick as possible. And when you add that tangle to it, I agree, it's for the better of society. But realistically happening, I'm not so sure.
I probably agree with you, Brian, but I can't sell my gun. No. I can't sell you my gun.
Point
you know? So they got the law on that, and a bloody motor vehicle is just as bloody deadly as a gun. But yet I can sell a gun. And I know you're absolutely right. Enforcing this would be a nightmare, but at least it's something to consider, so at least some people would do it. I've kept you long enough today, Brian, and I'm sure there's other people with more pressing issues. Thank you for taking my call today, and I hope you have a great day.
Tom, I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Take care. Bye. Yeah, and just on a further note to that, I mean, I've always thought if there was some kind of system at motor vehicle where they could actually verify when you go in. Even if any kind of transaction, somehow they can track a vehicle that's been sold and who it's been sold to, and whether that person has. I mean, there are any number of ways of looking at this, but I'm always open to suggestion and discussion on that and any other topic as we head into the 11:30 break, Dave, and we'll be right back.
The Tim Powers Show. Join the conversation weekday afternoons at 4 p.m. on your VOCM.
And welcome back to the program. Getting into the stretch, the home stretch here, and last half hour for today. Dave, did you... Oh, we don't have Joe on that line after all. I was just going to mention too... Oh, okay. Hold on, tech call. Will I wait for him, or do you want to go to... Yeah. Okay. I was going to mention as well, maybe you've been following the... Earlier this week, there was supposed to be a hearing in Supreme Court to deal with the traffic congestion, shall we say, caused by the opening of that Taco Bell in Mount Pearl, where, much like a busy Tim's lineup on a day where people will just block that lane to get their coffee. But positioning of the site and all the rest of it's been on, and we have some people on pushback on that, of course. Whether or not that was the perfect location for it or not. It's in Supreme Court, but it was postponed this week. And if and when I'm not in this studio, I'll be back in that one in Supreme Court next week for the next time to find out where all that stands. I just wanted to throw that out there. It was on my list of things to talk about earlier this morning. However, if you're a player in that story, if you have anything, if you're involved with the application to challenge the city's decision to put her right there and not put her somewhere else, by all means, open line, we're right here. Joe gone again, Dave? Just wait for that. But and also I was listening to Jerry Earl yesterday on another station talking about the snowplow operators and some issues with compensation and that sort of thing. We reached out to Jerry Earl, of course, and to talk about we all know the issues they're having with retention or recruiting and trying to fill the snowplow jobs in the province, especially in mind of the 24-hour snow clearing that was promised by the province. And, of course, they're working on that. And I had the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure, Barry Pettin, on yesterday talking about the work they're doing to try to get boots and butts in those snowplows and other heavy machinery to keep the streets cleared. But anyway, we're looking for an update on that one as well. And let's see, in the Paul Reynolds Centre, of course, in the city was closed yesterday. We know that there's been a history of issues with that centre in the East End of St. John's, the Paul Reynolds. Yesterday had to close again for a while due to We'll say some fumes in the area, something to do with a compressor that gave off some unpleasant scent and smell, made some people worry. They checked into it, located the problem, and shut her down for the day. And I'm told it has reopened today, so that's good news. It's not going to be an elongated closure. Dave, we got, will I hold on to that one? Okay. Still waiting. We're having a little bit of a bug in the system here today. And I hesitate to say, but when you're talking about, we were talking about earlier, the Pierre Poilievre on the West Coast, and yesterday watching him and Stephen Harper hand in hand, lock hand, and Mr. Prime Minister Carney, of course, there for Stephen Harper, the unveiling of his portrait at Parliament Hill yesterday, and the love-in. And, I mean, I say that sarcastically, but, in this day and age and everything that's going on south of the border, it doesn't hurt to have some serious solidarity among competing parties up along, and just to show that, it's not all dysfunction like some other countries here. Across the world, the dynamic is just fascinating. And then you see the Colombian president, all cozy with the president of the United States again, only a few weeks after calling him a wingnut. It's so hard to keep track of every little going on. And if you want to ever talk about all of that, I hesitate to do it. We talked about how ICE will be actually on the ground in Milano Cortina. Which is not necessarily welcomed by, and we're talking a different type of ICE, of course. Well, I take line one, Dave. Shall we go? Let's go right to line one. And Mary, you're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mary.
This is just in response to a couple of calls you had yesterday regarding Churchill Square parking. I've had several not very good experiences with Churchill Square parking. There's never anyone there to help you, but if you leave your car for about 2 minutes and you're in the wrong place, when you get back, there's an attendant at your door. I stopped outside the Tim Hortons. No one in the line in Tim Hortons. Ran in, grabbed a coffee. When I got out, I started the car, and before I could leave, there was an attendant at the door saying that I was parked in a no parking sign. Now, the parking sign must have been recently put there, because I had never seen it before, and I live right by the square. So anyway, my coffee ended up being $52.50. And I was ready to drive away. So the help there is none. When they put the new signage there, the signage is so bad, and it's nowhere as bad in the city as there. And no one there to explain it. That was one thing. The second thing is, I never forgot it, and after that, I did go to court with another person to challenge a ticket that they got there. And it was successful. And I'm also going next month with another person who got a ticket. And you have to go prepared, because the attendant will have pictures from an angle that suits them. So you have to take your own pictures from the vantage point of the driver. That's all I'm saying. And I would encourage anyone who got a ticket down there like that to go, because I found that the judges, they're very sympathetic regarding it. And if you take the time and everything to then go down and be challenged by parking meters then downtown who work a different way, all the parking meters in town work different ways, even with the health science. They have, in the health science, they have two methods of paying in there. Then you go to St. Clair's, that's a different method. It's really challenging to even get to where you have to do business. And the next point is that a few months ago, there was a person called in regarding, again, they had driven from out of town, from across the province, into the health science, and they had to wait. So they went to the square to get lunch. They parked outside the building. They had their disability chair, and they thought everything was fine. But, of course, when they got out, they had a ticket. So they called into your program and about it. And so anyway, I thought, what I'll do, I'll put my name there, and if that person wants to get in touch with me, I'll go down and represent them in court, because I knew exactly what had happened. And anyway, the person did call me back, and I said, look, I'll get in touch with the provincial court and find out exactly what I have to do, and I will get back to you. And, instead of driving across the province again to pay a ticket, which would have been kind of useless, I said, if I can do it, I will. But anyway, the provincial court, apparently their regulations is that the person that's registered to the car has to appear. So I called a person. I recommended. I said, well, you can do it by Zoom. If you have the facilities out where you are, that would be a way to do it. So, it is as far as I'm concerned, the city council is really they're certainly not senior friendly. And to put that signage down there, it explains nothing. And if you notice, there is no signage there telling you even where the free parking is. And there's 3 rows, I think it is. It took me 2 months to find out that. So, Churchill Square, to me, is designed by the council as just a money grab. And I think it's terrible. So I would encourage anybody who has tickets to really go and try to get them overturned. I'll tell you, I'm still not happy with my $50 cup of coffee.
Yeah, no, neither would I. And Mary, listen, I've mentioned somebody yesterday. I watched people stand bewildered in front of those. The pay by phone with the satellite with the little solar plexus on the top of them. I don't know if you have a job or a full-time job. I don't know what you do for a living, but if there's an opening for the city ombudsman for parking tickets, I'm nominating you, because you are 1,000% right. Going through the process is 9/10 of the challenge. Being prepared to make it as least onerous a situation or an experience as you can. It's no fun. No one wants to have to go to court for any reason. There's no question about that. But you're absolutely right on everything you said, including the judges will appreciate the fact and the trouble you went through for a $50 ticket, especially people who aren't familiar with the process. It's not fun. It's a pain in the rear end, and it's just time out of your day that you could be doing so much, probably something a lot more interesting and productive, instead of trying to take the time to do that. So you're absolutely right on every front you said. I can't disagree. And again, I'm nominating you for the official city parking ticket ombudsman for St. John's.
Well, I'll tell you, what really spurred me on, and anytime I hear a call that comes in, I think, yes, they should go down and defeat that, because I was so, I still haven't gone to that Tim Hortons to get another cup of coffee. I thought, I just can't do it. But, there is never any of those attendants. You can't find one. But you get out of your car, and if you're gone, I tell you, they just appear.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
So I don't know if there's just one assigned there, or how they do it. But it's really not fair. And that area, they have a lot of seniors, and I'm not saying that seniors, not all of them, have difficulty with the technology. Some are quite good, and I'm sure a lot better than I am. But there's some that do not have phones, and even following the directions on those meters.
Yep.
It's not fair. But if you look, there's not even one sign down there that says where the free parking is.
Yep. Free parking. Oh my God. The only free parking I know is on my Monopoly board, Marie. Mary's. But listen, I appreciate the call. We're over time. Please don't be a stranger to this show. I love every comment you have. That's the kind of call we need. And your positive attitude about it all doesn't hurt either. So, look, I appreciate the call. Any more on this subject are welcome. And yeah, I'm going to say thanks very much, and please call again.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
I hope it might help that person. And the first lady that called in, even though someone is paying your ticket, apparently they said they would. Try to make the effort to go down and if they want help, I'll certainly help them, because it's not the biggest challenge is getting parking down there.
Absolutely. How ironic.
Yeah.
How ironic.
I know.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. We've got your number here, but if you get an office at City Hall as the Ombudsman's office before that, they'll know where to find you. But if somebody really does, want that little bit of assistance, we got your number here. They can give us a shout, and you may get a call, and who knows, maybe you can help somebody else out the way you helped yourself.
Oh yes, as long as you got the pictures from your angle.
Yep, absolutely.
And the judges look at it from the different perspectives, and it's worth doing.
Absolutely.
And not being taken advantage of by City Hall. This is a City Hall who we're paying their salary.
Yep.
And they're putting obstacles to even how we can live. I'm so upset with Churchill Square.
We struck a nerve, Mary. I struck a nerve for sure. I got to get off to the break. Please call again. Thanks so much for the call. Okie doke, Mary, right there. Anyone wants to continue on with that? Tomorrow, Friday, next week, I'm all game. Let's take a quick break. Come back with quick calls from Kim and Annette after the break. We're back to the show. Just enough time for a couple of quick callers. Squeeze them in before the end of today's show. Let's go right to line number 3. Kim, you're on the air.
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
Good morning, Kim. How are you? I know that voice.
It's so good to hear your voice. I tell you, there's a lot of happy listeners out there this morning.
Surely I'm telling you, I'm one of those. I'll be totally honest, and it may sound weird, but I can't stand the sound of my voice. I accidentally flicked on VOCM around 9:30 last night on the radio. I had to run out and pick up my daughter, and I heard 2 minutes of it, and I had to shut it off. So I'm shocked that others aren't doing the same. But there you go. I appreciate that.
Well, Brian, I'm giving you a pat on the back. I'm really proud of you. I've known you for many, many years, several decades. Don't want to give away our age, but no one more fitting to be there on Open Line this morning. Kudos to you.
Well, I don't know what to say, but I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. It means a lot. It's, if there's one person out there who thinks I'm not absolutely destroying the show, then I'm happy. So that's all I can tell you.
Well, your professionalism, one of the things I've admired about you over the years is you just will not give up until you get the truth. And, kudos to you. I mean, the listeners are very lucky to have you. I'm a first-time caller in the Open Line. I listen with my mother when I was a little child, and like I said, I'm really proud of you there this morning. VOCM are very lucky to have you on their team.
Well, what can I say? My head's exploding, but I don't know what to do with a compliment like that, but other than to say thank you and, taking the time to call and say that. I guess somebody thought it would be a good idea to put me in here until they find a full-time replacement for Patty, and we've talked about this. I mean, the shoes are that big. There's no filling them. You just have to come in with your own shoes, your unique tread, if you will, and your own laces, and tie them up tight and hold on, because it's a wild ride.
Well, you're perfect for that wild ride. I don't know. I feel like you and I should meet Mary at Tim's for a coffee.
Not in Churchill Square, I can tell you. I'm only kidding.
But yes, congratulations. I look forward to hearing you. Who knows for how much longer?
Who knows?
Time will tell.
Absolutely. Kim, look, I really appreciate it. Go ahead.
I'm sure I'll see you. I'll either see you in provincial court or I will listen on the radio, Brian.
Yes, in our professional capacity, of course. Not on opposing sides.
Exactly.
Kim, thanks a lot. Shout out to all the staff down there. I miss you all.
Yes, and myself and my colleagues are probably going to miss you for a few more days. Hey, bye.
Hey, bye, that's right. Kim, thanks a lot for taking the time, Kim. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for taking my call, Brian. You have a great day.
You're welcome. I'll see you down below. All right. Thanks, Kim, for that one. Let's quickly go to Annette on line 2. Annette, you're on the air.
Good morning, Brian.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Loaded question. I'm almost, well, when it's 3 minutes left in the show, I'm a lot better than when there was 3 minutes.
We'll be quick.
Go for it.
I wanted to talk about the seniors' income because it's really, really terrible. The government decided to increase the disability income by $600 last year, which was great for people with disabilities because they wanted to bring them up to, be able to live a little bit better. However, when you get 65, you're going to lose that and go on to poverty again because there's not enough income for seniors. They're in the Avalon Mall trying to stay warm.
Trying to keep up with the cost of living and the increases. If they don't match, if the benefits that are there for seniors don't match the inflation and don't match the cost of living and the way the rising prices are these days, it's just useless.
It is, and Brian, I hear everything. The government, I hear that MOU, I hear about economic development, I hear about new Canadians, I hear everything. But I don't hear anything about the seniors of our province who are suffering.
Annette, only because of the time on the clock, and I've got less than a minute to do it.
Yes,
I don't want to give you. It's unfortunate, just the time on the clock. That's it.
That's fine.
Please, they're listening. They are listening, and they're hearing you. But let's hear a little more of you. If you have any time tomorrow or Friday, give me a shout back because I feel really awful that we don't have more time to have a chat about this.
That's fine. I understand. It's just like I'm going to be a senior next year, and I'm going to have to lose my home.
Oh, God. Okay, then even more so. Let's continue this conversation. If you can grab some time tomorrow or Friday and all next week, actually.
I can't tomorrow, but I can on Friday. But definitely, the government needs to, listen.
They're absolutely, and they're listening to you right now. And we'll talk Friday, hopefully.
Okay.
Thanks so much for the call, and thanks for understanding.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Bye.
All right. Thanks to Dave behind the glass, who is now Sarah Strickland. Mixed curling this afternoon, 2:30 Newfoundland time. First sports at the Olympics. Drive safely, everyone. VOCM cares.